Bev again, and in today's video I want to talk about what the best approach is for cardio in order to release excess body fat, okay? And the choice is yours, right? You can go on gym machines, or you can go outside running or cycling, or you can go swimming. But for really controlling excess body fat, not only exercise, you have to control your diet, you have to control your sleep patterns, and you have to control your reaction to stress. But today we'll just talk about exercise. So what are the considerations for fat release? Well, make sure that you enjoy your choice. You have to stay at it in the long term, and you have to be consistent, right? So don't pick something you don't enjoy. Pick something that you like doing. And the other thing is, your actual physical fitness will determine how long you actually stay aerobic. And aerobic means that you're using respiratory oxygen for that exercise to release that fat. The minute that you are no longer aerobic, you move more over to the anaerobic side. And the person who is not as physically fit will move over to the anaerobic side earlier than the physically fit person. Just a point to consider. And when you move over to the anaerobic side, it means that your body is going to move into your tissues in order to get at glycogen, and glycogen has some oxygen. So some of those tissues are going to be muscle tissues, okay? So something to keep in mind. And I'll talk about that at the end of the video. So let's talk about these machines. In terms of muscle mass use, the more muscles you can engage in an exercise, the more calorie burning potential that you're going to have, right? So the more muscles and the larger those muscles. So because the lower part of your body is 2/3 of your muscle mass, that's good, right? That's why you see weightlifters running over and using deadlifts and squats and lunges and all that stuff. They're after a lot of muscles. And the upper part is 1/3 of your muscle mass. So any of these, well, they all do involve your lower body muscles, so 2/3 of your muscles. This is good. Which ones involve your upper? Well, two of them, the elliptical and the rowing. The others are lower body. Now, does this mean the elliptical and the rowing are the only good ones? No. And why is that? Because we should discuss the potential for cheating on any of these. And the first one, let's talk about the treadmill. Right? Well, treadmill. A lot of people are just walking on the treadmill, chatting to their friends and whatever. Yeah, it's exercise. It's not very intense, but it's a general form of exercise, okay? Some people will tilt or incline the tread that they're running on or walking on, right? This is good. But how is cheating? Well, if you incline and then let's put it this way, you incline, that is the way you should be standing, right? You should always stand with gravity. But what a lot of people do when they incline it is they lean back and they hang on to the guardrails for dear life, right? Imagine if you were out hiking, and you're on an incline. There are no handrails. I mean, that will make the intensity of the exercise less if you're always keeping your body perpendicular to that tread, okay? So is there cheating? I'm going to put an X, which means yes, there's cheating, okay? X for negative. The elliptical, is there cheating? On the lower part? Oh yeah, because when you step down with one foot, it's pushing the other foot up, and vice versa. That's not true on the stair climber. You have to lift your whole foot up. You are in control of that whole amount of weight on that side. Not true in the elliptical. Same thing with the upper body on the elliptical. Are you just lollygagging back and forth. You know, sure, you're moving your shoulder and your elbow joints, but you're really not pushing and pulling, right? So you can do some cheating there. The rowing machine, I wouldn't call it cheating, but on the rowing machine and the stationary bike, you can alter it by, you know, how you're holding the, you know, are you holding it this way, you know, are you bringing in more biceps or not, and, you know, your stance is a little different, or the stationary bike, maybe you put your toes into the clips, you know, so you change a little bit on how you are using the various muscles. I wouldn't call it cheating, it's just a variance. And there really isn't much cheating allowed on this stair climber. What can you do, right? I mean, you can make it faster or slower, but you can't really cheat. So let's consider the intensity of the exercise on all of these. And intensity is really, if I was to compare them, it's the energy that you expend, the work that you do in the same time period. And you know, in 30 minutes, you could be walking along on the treadmill and be just fine, right? But 30 minutes of, you know, rowing, for example, or on the stair climber, you might be a little tired after. So you know when the intensity is a bit more, right? You know, sometimes it'll take you a shorter period of time to begin to have a shallow breathing or begin to cough. Well, that's because the intensity is greater and your body is beginning to move onto the anaerobic side. Okay, so what would I recommend? Well, you want to keep it aerobic. Remember I said don't get into the coughing and the shallow breath, and you can't, you know, have a conversation with the person next to you. That means you're no longer aerobic, or you're moving away from aerobic. And the other thing I would say as a recommendation, if you want to do cardio training, but you know, and your goal is also to build muscle, then do your cardio training after your weight training. Weight training will sort of get the fatty acids moving, and then cardio will break them up, okay? So do maybe 10 to 15 minutes of high intensity interval training after your weight training. So, you know, you go fast for a short period of time, and then you kind of go slower for a longer period of time, and you keep doing that back and forth for 10 to 15 minutes. That is really good for fat releasing. Or if you've run out of time and you don't want to do that after weight training, then on a day when you're not weight training, go for 60 or 70 minutes of solid, sort of steady state cardio training, and you'll release a lot more fat. Okay, so if you want to buy a machine for your house, I think that the rowing machine is the best, okay, in terms of all of this. Stair climber and stationary bike. Now, a rowing machine, you know, you don't have to get a fancy one that has water or has a fan or anything like that. You can get one for 150 to 300 bucks. Put it together in your house and you're all set. It's a great aerobic cardio machine. Personally, I prefer, and remember I said you have to pick something you like, I prefer the stair climber. But I can't buy one. I mean, they're really hugely expensive, right? And not even all gyms have them. But that's my second in this choice, but it's the one that I prefer to use. So anyway, I hope this has helped you, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know if you want a video on something in the comments. All right? Bye for now.